Mark making. How are you depicted? Why are you depicted? What is your worth? Belief systems about art and about mark making. This changed the way artists and society viewed art and received art. It affected how we as viewers participated in art. If you had money, then you had a reason or a right to be painted or drawn. Artists were allowed to use mark making to depict people in high court, high society. To be depicted meant that you were worth being remembered. This was before photography was, in play. Caravaggio was a painter. He refused, and he was a painter that had the quality, he was invited to be a court painter, right? And he was a painter who refused to use his mark-making talent to depict high society. Instead, he chose to depict everyday people who lived every day. Caravaggio just wanted to depict the other areas that were outside of society, high society. Art was seen as a privilege to be able to represent, to use your mark-making ability to depict in a representational way was a mastery that was really well received. It was in high regard. German Expressionism is another example of a movement which wanted to exaggerate how we depict, wanted to add more intense mark making, really feeling the physicality, really feeling the expression of the depiction. American artists, Franz Kline, Jackson Pollock, Agnes Martin, Helen Frankenthaler, Lee Krasner. How can mark making be seen differently? Degas, Edgar Degas. Really focused on ballerinas. He was the artist who was famous for experimenting with photography. Photography had just been, invented. This gentleman named Muybridge was one of the first people doing experimental photography, and it carried into Degas, into his ballerina work, his studies, and that changed how he approached how he depicted what he depicted. Monet, artist Monet, he painted, he painted landscapes, he painted flower paintings, he just wanted to depict, the world, the landscape around him. His flower paintings and his large lily paintings weren't well received. He was making these paintings that forced the viewer to stand stand really, really far back. And then as you stood back and back, you can see the painting emerge, these water lilies, or, these beautiful flowers, or, whatever it was, and Monet, he at the beginning, he started out as a drawer, depicting, just in kind of a regular way, and then he just started just pushing the boundaries, right? And he was, he's known as the father of Impressionism, right? And here we are, and we're going to kind of stay here with Impressionism, And we're going to look at how can we push our mark making ability where we can force the viewer to not see what we're depicting until a certain distance from that piece. And we're going to look at that this week.